it's kind of a good news, bad news sort of situation. I agree that some of the mental health issues, especially in terms of drug and alcohol use, really encouraging to see that those have kind of dropped off. Unfortunately, I do believe there are some other things that are popping out, and those were maybe not entirely reflected in the survey. But one of the things I would draw attention to, and you alluded to it earlier, is the issue around the world situation. There's a sense of hopelessness and despair that I think we're seeing in a lot of young people. And that's really tragic. And not only around world affairs and wars and climate change, but about their own future. There are, opportunities for them in a world where it's difficult to find work. It's difficult to get into educational institutions. And of course, we know living in British Columbia, very expensive to look at having a future home, and certainly in the Lower Mainland. And so that's one thing. The other one that I would comment on is we're seeing a lot of what I would describe as emotional dysregulation. So this is a worldwide issue. We're seeing that people are struggling with managing their emotions. And I think we see that with young people as well, particularly adolescents. There's so much happening neurochemically for them in terms of hormones. And finally, with regard to addiction, yes, we're seeing a drop off in certain addictive behaviors, especially those related to drug and alcohol. But screens, video games, TikTok, you talked about earlier, that unfortunately is increasing, and we're seeing a lot of addiction around that. So those three kind of global areas, I think, are partly reflected in the survey. We're seeing some of it, but certainly in my practice, I see a lot of that.
What gives you hope when you see these survey results and when you speak with the young people that you're helping?
Well, I think that's an excellent question. I like how you framed it. The things that I'm very hopeful about are some of the judgments and decisions that children are exercising, particularly older youth, around drinking, consumption of other substances, and early sexual activity. I think it's great, and we're seeing that kids are actually aware of the harm of some of these activities, and they're shifting away from that. So what gives me hope as well, I think, is the conversations I have. And obviously the kids who talk to me are a biased sample. They're youth who've reached out and are happy with it. But when I hear the energy, when I hear the concern, I feel very optimistic. I feel like these are kids who are going to make a difference in the world, and I'm going to be happy to pass the baton at a point.